The death penalty has become a highly controversial issue in the United States over the past years. With many arguments on the pros and the cons of this issue, the death penalty has been modified many times for the citizens. Although it is extremely hard to come by the death penalty, it continues to be a highly discussed and controversial issue in the United States. The death penalty was introduced to America by Britain. In 1608, the first recorded execution in the U.S. was performed against George Kendall, who is believed to be a spy for Spain. By 1612, the Define, Moral, and Martial laws were passed, which gave the death penalty for even minor offenses. In the early to mid-19th century, the death penalty was becoming less popular among the states. Michigan became the first to abolish the death penalty for all crimes except treason. Rhode Island and Wisconsin followed by abolishing the death penalty overall. The death penalty was halted by the U.S. in the 1960s and 1970s. The Supreme Court has limited the death penalty to first-degree murder with aggravated circumstances present. According to the Supreme Court in Godfrey v. Georgia, the death penalty is not possible for ordinary murder. In Edmond v. Florida, the Supreme Court ruled that the death penalty is not allowed for a person who is a minor participant in a felony and does not kill, attempt to kill, or intend to kill. With the death penalty being so controversial, citizens tend to have strong beliefs on both sides. Here are some of the pros of the issue. With the threat of the death penalty present, there is a decline in murder rates. When it was halted in the 60s and the 70s, homicide rates increased. The death penalty serves as a deterrent to major crimes. Supporters argue that the death penalty represents the will of the people. A majority of the public believe that murderers who kill innocent victims should forfeit their own lives. People believe that the death penalty is very important for social control. People also believe that the punishment should be proportional to the crime. The punishment should match up with the seriousness of the crime, and the most serious punishment should be used on the most serious crime. With strong belief on the pros of the death penalty comes strong belief on the cons. People who oppose the death penalty believe that the possibility of error is present. The use of DNA in solving crimes has resulted in exonerations of wrongfully convicted death row inmates. People believe that the risk of a person being wrongfully executed is possible. Some people simply do not want to support a killer who is on death row for an extensive amount of time. Data shows that the average inmate on death row has been on death row for about 12 years. Due to the cost of keeping the inmates on death row, states have begun to open up the possibility of abolishing the death penalty to save money in light of the current recession. Opposers also believe that executions are cruel and inhumane. They believe that even lethal injection causes pain for the inmate, and it takes much longer to cause death than originally planned. In my opinion, the death penalty should be present to criminals who decide to murder innocent people. I strongly believe that the punishment should be proportional to the crime. If somebody decides to take an innocent person's life, that person, in my opinion, should be given the death penalty. Although it may be expensive to keep that person on death row, I believe that it is necessary to give that person the punishment that they deserve. This not only makes the punishment proportional to the crime, but it also gives the victim's family a sense of security and comfort, knowing that the person who killed their family member will never kill again. The death penalty is a very important part of today's society, but it will continue to be one of the most controversial and most discussed issues. Next slide is my sources cited page.